Voci d'autore dalla piazza. Authors' Voices from La Piazza, the mini Litcast of the first edition of the Italian Literary Festival La Piazza 2026, presented by the Italian Cultural Institute of San Francisco and the Cultural Association Librai in Corso. I am Sara Marinelli. In this Litcast, I pose 3 questions to the authors participating in the festival. Opening this series is a snippet of a live conversation I had with writer Andrea Bajani at the launch of the festival on March 16 at the Italian Cultural Institute of San Francisco. Andrea joined us on Zoom and we discussed his novel The Book of Homes, translated by Elizabeth Harris and published by Deep Bellum in the summer 2025.
The origin of this book was so incredibly human and so incredibly personal. It happened in 2017. I was a fellow at the American Academy in Rome. And the American Academy in Rome happens to be in the same neighborhood I was born in 1975. And so I had the curiosity of go see the house. And at the same time was a curiosity about my childhood. Childhood is always the place where we go to try to investigate what happened in our life. Why are we the people we are? Why we are suffering the way we are suffering, or why we are happy the way we are happy. Long story short, I knocked at the door. There were 2 old people living there. They let me in. And when I left the house, I was kind of upset and disappointed. The reason why I was disappointed was not only because they renovated the house in a terrible way. I was disappointed because I all of a sudden realized that the real thing I was expecting or I was hoping was not to see the place, but I was in a way hoping that the 3-year-old guy I was when I lived there would come towards me and hug me. I was hoping to meet the self I was when I was a little one. I walked back to the American Academy thinking, actually, all the people we were at a certain age are kind of preserved in the houses where we lived in. And the houses are the only places which really know everything of us. I thought, the only way to really try to tell the story of a person would be just to collect the houses where they spend their life. All of a sudden, I saw this structure. I started making a list of the places where I lived in my past. And then from then, I became a character. So I invented other houses. But the point for me was also, as you were describing, it goes from one house to another and from one time to another in the following chapter. This sounds experimental, but it is exactly what we do in our everyday life, where our memory all of a sudden, talking to a person, goes back for one moment to the teenager we were, and then walking by, we smell something that kind of brings us to our childhood and so on and so forth. Basically, after visiting the houses where I was a child, I envisioned the whole structure of the book. And I started putting together, like in a puzzle, all the snapshots of the life of a person.
The narrator refers to the protagonist as I, the first person pronoun. Being I, the name of the protagonist, is addressed in the third person. This creates a dissonance in the grammar. One of the first things I remembers, I stays awake a long while staring at the floor. And this dissonance is not only grammatical, but it's kind of a dissonance with the self, right? It's a distance from which to look at oneself, at our own past existence. And it's almost a refraction of the self through time and space. The I of 1976 of the underground home is different from the I of the family elegant home in 2017, yet is the same person. You can actually say the same sentence the other way around. Would you tell us more also about this choice as opposed to choosing the name of a character or addressing him with he?
It happened all by instinct. As I was telling you, when I was disappointed that I couldn't meet the little one I was, I had the perception that this guy was me, but was I, meaning that the only way I could describe this little one was I. We always say I at every different age. Only it's just fiction when we think that we are the same people as we were 10 years ago. And for me, leaving I as a name was the most sincere thing I could do. We spend our life trying to question, what does I mean? Who am I? Now, this is the big question. And we always try to make a summary of what we are. And we always kind of force all the past I's we were to be consistent. Like saying, as a child, I was shy. When I was a teenager, I was less shy. Always kind of assuming that we are the same person. So for me, this book was also to kind of give the right to each person we were at a different age to be just that, to be the I we are.
We continue the conversation, focusing on themes that emerge from the novel: the poetics of space, the impermanence of identity and memory, time and intimacy, and so forth. I concluded by asking Andrea Bajani for an inaugural message to launch the festival.
If you go to a piazza in Italy, but everywhere else, but to Italy, in a way, it's even more striking since piazzas are meant to be the place where people gather and talk. And if you go to a piazza in Italy, people are just sitting on a bench scrolling their phones. And so that's what I think you guys are doing with this festival, that bringing back the piazza to the piazza, not forgetting what the piazza means. People in a space talking together, thinking that being together with another human being matters, that sharing a space, sharing a sky, sharing a moment of life matters. It's exactly what literature means for me, that writing and reading means to me. For me, reading is a piazza, is a place where I sit on a bench, in a car, on a train, and I'm sitting there together with another person. That is the person who wrote the book when I'm reading, and we are completely in a dialogue.
Yes, that's a great message. Thank you, Andrea, for that.
Thank you.
Voci d'autore dalla piazza. The next episodes will be in Italian, reflecting the interlinguistic space of La Piazza.